The win was just the craziest part. I think that's the craziest game I've been a part of. And most importantly, that's the most important thing, winning the game. So, yeah, I mean, I think I did some good things, but I'm just glad to be a part of the winning side of that. Yeah, I mean, that touchdown Coleston scored, I'm glad I wasn't mic'd up. I was probably sounding like a little girl there running down the field. I was screaming, you know, a lot of emotion, but, you know, games like this, that's what you play at this level for.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher. That was Kyle Monangai at the top after an insane victory for the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
Most of it on the back of Kyle Monangai. 26 exact carries.
No one will ever confuse Kyle Monangai for a little girl. It's okay. He was worried about that. He doesn't have any fears.
Yes, 30 pounds of muscle and a 10-pound sack. Kyle Monangai.
Damn right. Like a young Matthew Berry out there.
That's what they kept saying on the broadcast.
Exactly right.
I told them to relax. But
yeah, exactly. Pride of Rutgers, Kyle Monangai.
That's right. Pride of the state of New Jersey.
Yeah. Unbelievable. It was great. That one worked out. We've been on the Monangai train for quite a while. It was nice to see it play out, Connor, against the Bengals, who don't put up much of a resistance.
Start your running backs against the Bengals. Yeah. Maybe start everybody against the Bengals. Check out these notable fantasy performances. Caleb Williams goes nuclear over 38 points. Joe Flacco, for the first time in his career, has a 400-yard passing game. T. Higgins, the big benefit of that. Coleston Loveland with the signature play at the end of the game. DJ Moore involved. Kyle Monangai and Chase Brown have good days. All the way down the board, Olamide Zaccheaus. And how the hell does Rome Odunze have a goose egg?
That's the crazy part. One target in this game. Rome Odunze has one target in this game. This is how bat blank crazy this game was. Rome Odunze has one target. His first career game without a reception, whatever. It's his second year, but it's fine. Rome Odunze actually had a lower target share in this game than Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams actually got two targets in this game, including catching the touchdown passes. So yes, in terms of target share, Caleb Williams over Rome Odunze in this one. Jay Croucher.
Was the game plan of Al Golden like, we're going to take out Rome Odunze and give up everything else? Everything else, they can do whatever they want, but Rome Odunze will not beat us. If they score 47 with everyone else, so be it.
I cannot figure out, is it just, and maybe, Connor, it's a combination, but I can't figure out, is it just the Bengals just have no players whatsoever and the defense is just awful? Or is it the fact that Al Golden's scheme is just so not NFL ready, right? I mean, because they got rid of Lou, I don't know how to pronounce Anarumo. Yeah, thank you. I always pronounce his name correctly. But, they got rid of him, who's highly respected in the NFL. Yeah.
Total fall guy.
They just threw him under the bus, and then you get here in Al Golden. Like, somehow it's worse than last year.
That's the thing. For it to be this bad, it's everything. Yeah. You don't have enough talent. You haven't been healthy at your most premium spots like Trey Hendrickson, and the play calling on defense isn't any good. No. As Jonathan Medici, good to see the regulars in the chat as always on a Monday morning. Odunze with 0 is about as ridiculous as Barry claiming he's immune to alcohol.
It's not a claim, it's a fact.
Well, I think it was beers specifically.
Yeah, beer. I am. Yes. Make no mistake. With certain types of alcohol, I get blank-faced quickly.
Yes, you're pervious to white wine.
I'm very pervious. Yes. Yeah, you give me some Pinot Grigio and glug, and I'm like, woo.
Yes. Impervious to Bud Light. Allegedly.
Yeah. No, I'm impervious to beer. That's what it is, Jonathan Medici. I am impervious to beer, and that's really it. Everything else F's me up. But for whatever reason, beer, I can perform open heart surgery after a six-pack.
Yeah. Now, Matthew is clarifying.
I can fly a plane. Yeah. You have no idea.
Don't try that.
As we mentioned previously, Denzel Washington tried that in flight. It didn't work out. He ended up before the Supreme Court.
I disagree. It absolutely did work out. Like, in flight, no. That's the crazy part.
Great job,
in flight,
Jay.
he turns the plane upside down. He does this unbelievable thing. He saves everyone. That's the crazy part. He saves everyone, and then they try to redo it on the flight simulator, and they can't.
Sure.
Because that's how brilliant Denzel Washington was. But yes, he was an alcoholic and ultimately ends up in prison. Spoiler alert. It's not a great movie.
It's not a great film.
No.
Who could have saw that coming with that plot? Good God.
It was very frustrating because I like Denzel Washington a lot. Yeah. He's terrific in it, but it's like two different movies. All right.
It's one of those movies like Any Given Sunday where there's like a ton of good things in it and just doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't work. There's so much stuff in the
first
plot.
half of the movie is really interesting, and then the second half, it's all about, like, his kids and his daughter, and then he goes to jail, and you're like, whatever. It's a whole bunch of stuff. All right, back on the rails here with the thing about the Bengals defense is that Joe Flacco in his 4 starts, talked about this on the Football Night in America pod last night, the Bengals are averaging almost 33 points a game. They're averaging 32.8 points per game. You score 32 points in an NFL game, you should win. They're 1-3 under Joe Flacco, despite the fact they're scoring. I know, and they that's what's. He's averaging 32 points. Like, the offense is rolling under Joe Flacco, and it's just a disaster of the Bengals front office, of the Bengals ownership. I think Zach Taylor has to take some responsibility for this as well. I've said it a million times. Anyone that's ever watched me, I've been doing podcasts and been on TV for almost 20 years now. And I've said this for literally 2 decades. I feel horrible for my friends that are fans of the Bengals because every time you try to believe in Cincinnati, they bone you. The Bengals bone you. That's what everyone knows this. It's fact.
Yeah, no.
You get boned by the Bengals.
You've been consistent with this.
I feel terrible for the Bengals fans. What an awful existence that must be. I can understand it just because, again, I'm a Commanders fan and it feels like we're sort of in the same loop.
I'll tell you who held nothing back is Ja'Marr Chase and Chase Brown after the game. Check this out.
Yeah, let's listen to them.
I'm going to stay in my lane. I don't want no defensive player come and chew me out about what the I'm doing.
We know how they can play. They played really well at the start of the season. Like, they did, and they were carrying us on their back. So, now that we're stepping up, I think we just got to play complementary football. Like, we put the ball in the end zone and go up a point at the end, finish the game. Like, just end it. Like, that's it. Like, that's what we need to do. Just end the game. Like.
Very honest, Chase Brown.
Very, very honest, Chase Brown.
Not wrong.
No, he was wrong a little bit. They weren't playing well at the beginning of the season. They were just better. They're just not as bad as they are right now. So, I mean, again, you have to take all the Bears' performances with a grain of salt because Cincinnati is so brutal. Caleb Williams, huge game. He's the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. He's heading into Monday Night Football, but he catches a touchdown. He has, he does get the rushing yards, which I think is somewhat. I think the positives here for Caleb Williams, who'd had a couple of bad games, is just that he did what you're supposed to do against bad defenses, which is he produced. So you like that there. Monangai, it all depends. They play the Giants at home next week. It just depends on DeAndre Swift's injury status, obviously, because I don't think Swift loses the job. He has an extra gear that Monangai doesn't have. But I will say, Connor, I do think that this performance earns him more time and that we've seen Ben Johnson, especially in Detroit, use 2 backs effectively.
This is what he wants in the long term. He just wanted to make sure Monangai was ready for it. But now you have no doubt who the number 2 is in Chicago.
No doubt.
Think of times we talked about Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert in the past. Yeah. By the way, Khalil Herbert was traded for the 7th-round pick that was used on Kyle Monangai from the Bengals. So how funny that turns on their heads real quick. But, yeah, it's just – I think
the tables turn.
There's maybe a scenario, and fantasy managers might not want to hear this, but if Swift is back – they kind of start to eat into each other a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
What you love about Swift has been the volume.
Yeah, it could be a Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle situation when Chuba initially got back and there was the uncertainty or at the start of the season. And it's difficult as well because the 2-headed running backs, they only work when you're on an absolute juggernaut like the Lions. And you've got enough game script and carries and pass rate over expectation is low enough to feed 2 different elite guys. So it's going to be, I think, awkward. I would suspect the median outcome is that if Swift was getting such a heavy workload, that scales back a bit and it's more like a 70-30 type of operation. And Monangai, the difficulty too is like the Bears, they won this game, but they're not a great team. Like you wouldn't expect them to have game script as favorable going forward.
No, I don't know that it's a Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard situation. I think it's actually it's literally it's what we talked about in the preseason. I think it's the Temu version of Gibbs and Montgomery. It's like the discount version of that. Swift is not nearly as explosive as Gibbs. Monangai at this stage isn't as reliable as David Montgomery, but I do think, with Swift in the Gibbs role, 65%. Monangai in the 30-35% Dave Montgomery role, and what they currently do right now, I think, is what it will be moving forward. The last thing about this game, 2 last things because I think it's important here. Number 1 is it was great to see DJ Moore have such a monster game here, top 4 fantasy wide receiver heading into Monday Night Football, but just an 18% target share. Again, like he throws a touchdown pass
Fluky
here,
things.
like he ran for a touchdown pass. It was just all fluky stuff that you don't expect to happen. I mean, that's what's crazy is that he has yet to have a game this season with a target share above 20%, and this was in a game in which they were throwing a ton, and Rome Odunze only got one target, which we know is not going to be the case moving forward. So DJ Moore is a sell high to me if you can. There's a positive sign, back-to-back games with 70 receiving yards here, but I'm most interested. To me, the biggest thing other than Monangai kind of proving itself to me is Coleston Loveland.
Been waiting for this.
Right?
I mean, top 15 pick, Coleston Loveland, drafted over Tyler Warren, billed as a guy that his receiving skills were really what matters in his game. And we saw this come to fruition, Jay, throughout the entire game. It wasn't the one big play at the end. He was constantly making plays. And for Caleb Williams, just a reliable target. So in a barren wasteland at tight end, which, by the way, we are going to get to the injuries that have hit this position, including Tucker Kraft. You kind of hope Coleston Loveland can now be a thing the second half of the year.
He looked great. Looked like a young Tyler Warren out there. I think the one thing about the end of this game, before Loveland's play, and I don't want to pick a fight with the ESPN win probability model. It's probably a great model, probably a great man, ESPN win probability. But that said that there was a 20% chance that the Bears were going to win the game when they got the ball back. It's like, I don't know, I feel like they had...
Like only needing a field goal?
Yeah, I feel like that was a coin flip
It was like
at best.
ESPN win probability wasn't watching the game.
The data seems a little off on that.
I think the Bengals break every model. Their defense is the point. It's that bad. But it is a fantastic fantasy environment, Bengals games, because they're good enough to keep them close, to keep everyone still in the game, but they're bad enough that everyone goes off against them. These games, the totals are in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's something like, you know, the fifth best running back in fantasy is running back facing the Bengals, right? Like the third best quarterback in fantasy is quarterback facing the Bengals. Like they
create memories.
On and on and on. The only thing about Loveland here, so this was great, and hopefully this earns him more work. Cole Kmet left this game early with a concussion. If he comes back, you know, does it become more of a, still, you know, that's the problem. Kmet was holding Loveland back, which again, we sort of don't totally understand the logic there because they signed Kmet to a big deal in the offseason, but then they use, to your point, a top 15 pick on Coleston Loveland, and then they don't really use him. But 20% target share, obviously a lot of his fantasy production came from that one big play at the end, the broken tackle that he ran for the touchdown, the game winner. But, you know, still, again, in our desperate search for any tight end with a pulse, hopefully we like the talent coming out of college, and hopefully this performance leads to more opportunity.
Right. He had about a 16-point day before that, which is you take from a streaming tight end, but that play turns it into an almost 30-point day. Yeah. So the big play helps a lot. Our next game here, guys, unless you still want to talk about the Bengals side of it.
No, they're on a bye next week. So, I mean, just
T. Higgins is the guy.
T. Higgins had a great game. Chase Brown goes off a little bit. Samaje Perine gets banged up. I don't know how serious it is.
Yeah.
Again, they're on the bye, so we'll see what it looks like there. But, like, again, you feel good about this offense under Joe Flacco, and given that defense, you feel great about all the players that you care about there.
Our next game, Bills-Chiefs. The Bills win a massive, massive game for their season. Frontline by Josh Allen being excellent. Dalton Kincaid looking healthy and just great in this game. Rashee Rice doing what Rashee Rice does. James Cook getting plenty of work. And then just a lot of mediocre performances under
By the way, you see a name there that, you know what name isn't on that list? Xavier Worthy. Ever since Rashee Rice came back, Xavier Worthy is like...
Much to the chagrin of Live at Noon on the Tube. Yes.
2-0 live
getting hot.
The Tube.
Getting dangerously hot.
Yeah, down the stretch. We're going to play spoiler.
The New York Jets.
Don't call it a comeback, but we've now got a 2-game win streak.
Okay.
Poor stupid Dev.
Bad showing from Stupid Dev. Who I have a lot of faith in most weeks.
Shameful.
Stupid Dev has a great team, just not this week. Just not against me.
You
ran into the juggernaut. We got red hot. We're getting hot at the right time.
Don't you have Jayden Daniels?
Yes, that is there. There's that.
But he has Matthew Stafford, who might be the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
And Drake May?
Okay.
How is this team so bad?
Yeah.
Again,
it's that damn George Kittle injury.
I'm most points against. You can call me the excuse, sir. Honestly, bad injuries and most points against, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Keep talking. I'm going to hold you to account for some of this. Okay, most points against. Where are you in points for, though? Which is the real question. Is that irrelevant?
I mean, listen, Chase Brown sucked. Derrick Henry sucked for much of it. Xavier Worthy was hurt, and then Rashee Rice came back. Jayden Daniels has been in and out of the lineup. Like, I've had some injuries. You know, Sam Laporta hasn't been good. Mike Evans has been hurt pretty much the entire year. Like, that's my team right there. I just gave you, like, my first 7 picks. Yep. You know, and so...
Cobra Kiger calls it the Kittle curse.
What do you mean? You're second last in points for. You're 11th.
Yeah, but I'm amazing. I'm coming up.
You're like 300 points behind me.
Yeah,
Like blind date, use the 2-week metric.
Yeah.
metric.
Utilization 2 weeks for the live at noon.
I have like 30% more points than you on the season. You're not close.
Yeah.
You're
I
not
don't think did I claim I was close? You just asked.
We just said he's hot.
luck.
He's hot. It's a hot streak.
You literally just said, how is this team so bad? And I just explained to you how the team is so bad.
Yeah.
I didn't say the team was good.
Yeah, you mentioned points against.
Yes, I lead the league in points against, so I haven't gotten any luck in terms of eking out a win against a team I had no business beating. There's Stupid Dev weighing in. Wait until Matthew finds out who has Mariota. I know it's you, Stupid Dev. I saw that sitting on your bench.
Yep.
Congratulations, you have him. It doesn't matter. I've got Matthew Stafford and Drake May of your Patriots, Stupid Dev. Ha, ha, ha.
You know why you're second in points against?
What's
Because
that?
you don't get to play yourself.
That's
which would
true.
drag that down.
That's fair. That would have been exactly. If the Bengals could only play the Bengals.
That's very good.
Yes, exactly.
They have a shot.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem fair that Cincinnati doesn't get to play Cincinnati. Don't distract from the fact that Josh Allen, proud fantasy life investor Josh Allen, was brilliant yesterday. You know what? He now has more rushing touchdowns than any quarterback in NFL history. He passed Cam Newton yesterday, gets in 2 times there. First quarterback with at least 6 rushing touchdowns in each of his first 8 career seasons. I don't know that there's a fantasy takeaway here from this game. Another huge game from James Cook. But I just thought this was an interesting factoid. Some infotainment, if you will.
Okay.
Just a little nugget, just something you can drop at the bar, impress your friends, impress the ladies.
Yeah, they love fantasy nuggets.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just telling you, whether it's a member of the opposite sex, whatever it is, they love fantasy football nuggets at the bar late at night. Trust me on this one.
Tell you about Kenyon Drake.
Yeah,
2022.
Exactly. James Cook was the first running back with 100 or more rushing yards against the Chiefs since Week 16 of 2023.
Jahmyr White.
34 games. It was the Jahmyr White game, yes, of your Las Vegas Raiders. Yes,
Yeah, that's
Jahmyr White.
Another
Vegas
team for
Raiders.
you.
I thought the one takeaway out of this, and I thought the Chiefs would win. I thought they'd beat the Bills. They'd close 2.5-point favorites. The market adored them. Mahomes' arm isn't what it was. The fact that he couldn't get under that Hail Mary into the end zone, and the fact that he doesn't have the same zip on these throws.
He was in some weird positions, though.
Yeah.
It was a career low completion percentage, 44.1. Career low, not season low.
First time in 9 years that he'd ever had a completion percentage below 50%. Sacked 3 times, hit 15 times. He was constantly under siege.
Yeah.
The Bills' defense, which came in banged up, that's as good as I've seen them play all year.
agree.
Unbelievable performance by the Bills' defense. I think the only takeaway fantasy-wise from the Bills is Dalton Kincaid. And look at Ved, FF Happy Hour regular says Kincaid a top tight end 1 going forward, a plug and play. I kind of think he is. Listen, he still isn't playing a ton of the snaps. 53% route participation. He has only 1 game this year above 60%, but 100 yards or more in 2 of the last 3. He leads all tight ends in yards per target, yards per route run. It just sort of feels like when they want to run the ball, it's Dawson Knox out there. When they're throwing, it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. And so he earns targets at a high enough rate, and given sort of the state of the tight end position, that even though he's not playing a full complement of snaps, I think I don't know that he's a full plug and play, but I think if you were ranking tight ends for the rest of the season, he's clearly a top 12 tight end.
And he probably gives you upside that maybe 4 other guys give you, right? Like, we start so many tight ends that are like, can you give me 5 catches for 50 yards? With Dalton Kincaid, you can have a 20-plus point performance on any given week.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right, there are starting tight ends that are like Zach Ertz is a guy like that, right? A guy is like a 5 for 50
Hunter
with
Henry, Evan Ingram.
that have a shot at a touchdown every week. But
when you simplify it, I think ultimately Dalton Kincaid is the most talented pass catcher for Josh Allen, and that gives you a certain floor and a certain ceiling each week.
him or Shakir for sure.
I'm fascinated to see what both of these teams do at the deadline. It feels like either of these teams could make a move. The Bills more likely on defense, but if the Chiefs added something on offense, I wouldn't be shocked.
Could you see Breece Hall going there? Like, I mean, that's
the Jets are just holding out for a day 2 pick, I think.
Yeah.
So they're not
They
dying
also
to give him away.
need to figure out the Josh Simmons situation. I don't think anyone knows what's going on
That's
there.
a weird
very,
one.
very strange.
So they need, like, the issue yesterday was the offensive line and Mahomes being under siege.
Without a doubt.
For sure. The last thing here is just in terms of Kareem Hunt, we thought, 咩he'll get like a massive workload. And he got more, played 81% of the snaps. He got 12 of the team's 17 running back touches, but he did what Kareem Hunt does, 11 for 49, whatever, falls in the end zone, expected.
It's most cream
You
hunt game
know,
ever.
right, exactly.
It's
Catches
funny.
one ball for 6 yards, like whatever.
He has these amazing runs where it's like he breaks all these tackles and then he gains 7 yards
Yeah.
on it. It's like, oh, those runs for Jonathan Taylor go for 90.
He's like a pinball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He
just
fights hard.
Yeah, he does. He does indeed. But, like, he's, again, and they're on a bye this week. They come back. They're at Denver. The expectation is that Isaiah Pacheco's injury isn't that serious, so likely back after the bye. Again, we think the Chiefs will be active at the trade deadline. Who they wind up with, we'll see. The last thing I just want to say is, again, like, it just I have to start Xavier Worthy on my team because my team is so terrible. But generally, it just doesn't feel like, as long as Rashee Rice is healthy and as long as Travis Kelce is healthy, it doesn't feel like Xavier Worthy. He's now much more of the Juju, Tyquan Thornton, kind of the other guys. It's like it's Rice and Kelce, and then it's sort of the other guys, all Hollywood Brown. They're all hoping, who gets something versus Worthy being the kind of guy that we saw towards the end of last year.
Xavier Thornton. That's what he's become.
Yeah, he really has been. Really has been. I really needed him that first 5 weeks when Rice was out. That was part of the argument of how I constructed my team, and it did not work out.
No.
Our next game here, guys.
But I did defeat Stupid Dev again.
A 2-win streak for the live at noon on the tube. Don't let him get hot. Please do not let him get hot. Gutsy win for the Vikings over the Lions in this one. J.J. McCarthy back and solid, not fantasy crazy, but I think better than I definitely expected him to play. Sam Laporta had a huge game in this one. Jared Goff was pressured almost 50% of his dropbacks. It's kind of amazing he even had over 19 fantasy points in this one. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the most reliable assets in all of fantasy football. But I think the big story here, Matthew, is that the Vikings got the run game going a little bit with Aaron Jones healthy, too.
He did, but he left this game early, has a shoulder injury.
Always something.
It's always something with Aaron Jones, which drives you crazy. But the offensive line played better here, which I thought was important. I mean, I think J.J. McCarthy, like, it's weird because J.J. McCarthy, like, QB 13. Right? Got a rushing touchdown. QB 13 is rated in Monday Night Football.
That's a big difference maker.
Well, sure, but like, by the way, like everyone's just like, oh, J.J. McCarthy, and I think it's because expectations are so low.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like Justin Fields, Jets, deer in the headlights kind of level of like, is this guy even going to be in the league in 2 weeks?
Right.
And then he just came out and he was competent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Justin Jefferson had to make some unbelievable catches to come down with the ball, but like, again, he was solid. He wasn't a disaster. And I think because he wasn't a disaster, expectations were so low, people were like, whoa, woo, J.J. McCarthy.
I agree. I mean, 14 completions. The throw at the end was awesome, but
Yeah.
I think what we care about is can J.J.
Under
McCarthy
150 passing yards.
not sink everyone else in the offense?
That's the point.
If you're starting J.J. McCarthy, I think you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
But can he not sink Justin Jefferson? And when Aaron Jones is healthy with the run game, and he did enough yesterday that he didn't sink those guys.
Yeah, and Addison as well,
Great
right?
day for Addison, but
Yeah.
decent and like not dreadful.
Again, that's the point. To your point, like, can he be competent enough here to keep this offense afloat for the players we care about, Jay?
Yeah, I think it's strange because he goes into Detroit and wins as a 9.5-point underdog, and he has these highlight plays, and we come out of it like, still no idea, basically, what he's going to be like going forward. I thought, though, kind of the big difference was that the Vikings, their offensive line is healthy for the first time, it feels like, in forever, and that just gives them a bit more stability, and that just allowed kind of the Kevin O'Connell machine to kick in, which has been such a cheat code for basically every quarterback that's played there.
Right, and their defense tortured the Lions.
Yes.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, yards before contact, was in the minus territory.
Yeah.
He was averaging negative 0.2 yards before contact in this game, so he had nothing going, Matthew.
28 yards from scrimmage, a career low. 12 touches, 5.8 fantasy points, all career lows. I mean, like, Jahmyr Gibbs came in as hot as any running back in the NFL this side of Jonathan Taylor, and the Vikings completely shut him down. Louis Garcia says, so weird. When the Lions use Gibbs, they win. When they don't, they lose. Wonder how they fix this. I don't know that that's totally fair, Louis Garcia. I appreciate the comment. Like, they had to go away from him because they got nothing going.
And also they started falling down by 2 scores,
That's
and the clock started working against them. The Lions are a team, like, they may well be the second, third best team in the NFL, but they are a little fragile in terms of if they start falling behind, it looks a lot worse. Same thing with the Colts. Like, the Colts start playing from behind, doesn't look like the same machine at all because Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, these are quarterbacks who can't overcome their context as much as a Mahomes, an Allen, or a Lamar.
That's right.
But ultimately, I think the one takeaway perhaps is that kind of this Detroit offensive line probably isn't the machine that it was last year. I mean, there's been turnover there, and obviously the new offensive coordinator probably can't count on it to be as dominant week in, week out.
Sewell left this game at some point, so they've dealt with injuries. Their rookie Tate Ratledge, who's been good, has also been hurt throughout the season. And credit to Brian Flores, who said, I am getting interior pressure, moving Jared Goff. Some quarterbacks that doesn't work against. Against Jared Goff, that works. If you move him, things are going to look rough. And, you watch Ben Johnson and all these wrinkles in his offense, and John Morton's been okay moving into this role, but you notice the difference, of course, without a great play caller like Ben Johnson.
Laporta had a huge game, obviously, in this one. Thank you, Laporta. But by the way, very quietly since week 5, he's the third best tight end in fantasy on a points per game basis. At least 16 fantasy points in 3 of the past 4, 20% target share 3 of the past 4. So it seems like, again, as this offense is sort of coming into shape, Laporta becoming more and more a part of it. Goff is what he is. Like, it was ultimately a nice game, but, like, this is only a second game all year with 30 pass attempts. This is not the kind of game they want to play.
No.
They want to your point, they want to be running the ball. So I don't think there's a lot to take away from this game because, again, Gibbs isn't going to have this low a usage. Goff isn't going to throw it this much. So I think it is. The last thing I'll say here, and then we can move on. The Vikings' upcoming schedule is fascinating, right? I mean, like, this is a team that's, like, could literally go either way. They're home to Baltimore this week, right?
Who looks better now.
Of course, with Lamar back.
And the defense is healthy.
Right,
yeah,
and they're
healthy-ish.
They're off the mini-bye. Look at them. Look at this schedule here. So week 10, home to the Ravens. Week 11, home to the Bears. Then they got to go to Green Bay. They're at the Packers. And then week 13, at the Seahawks. The next 4 games are really interesting until they get the basic bye against my Commanders in week 14. That's basically it. That's a bingo square. That's a bye. That's a win.
Respect Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, we're done. We're done. I'm at the point where I'm playing for a draft pick.
At least you made it to Halloween.
Yeah.
That's more I can say about my team.
Yeah, dude.
I forget who my team is. Oh, it's the Colts.
Is it still?
7-2. Yeah, I'm a Colts man still. It's one loss. One loss. They fought hard
You're
in
a
that
little
game
fragile with your
You
fandom.
are very
Colts
fragile.
fan.
No one jumps.
As I tweeted out last night, my bond with the Colts is very strong. It's everlasting, and it will require at least 3 consecutive losses before I abandon them.
Okay,
and they've only got 1. The problem is if they lose to the Falcons, then we're in big trouble with that relationship because they play the Chiefs after that. So you want to beat the Falcons.
Yeah, this is an
Indianapolis.
important game for your relationship with the Colts. Cobra Kiger, Commanders know their season is all but over. Time to lick some wounds and prepare for next year. I could not agree more. Ryan Oswald, definitely time to play for next year, like Barry. For sure, absolutely. It's a rebuilding year. I'm trying to get the guys. I'm trying to get the guys.
Assets.
Yeah, I'm compiling assets for next year. I'm getting the guys off the bench, getting them some meaningful playing time.
Look at the younger players.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Stafford.
Like Matthew Stafford. Stafford's going to get off the bench.
Dust him off.
Yeah, dust him off.
Oh, man.
Get him out there. So I'm wearing Jayden. We'll get to that in the game in a second. What a disaster last night was. All right, let's.
Yep.
Why don't we move on to
Patriots Falcons.
Quarterback. Yeah.
Yes, Drake May. Clunky game. The Patriots win. Missed extra point was the tail of the end of this game for the Falcons. Yeah, unbelievable. Drake London was nuclear in this game. He had one drive where it felt like he was just one-hand catch everything, which really helped Michael Penix throw for 3 touchdowns in this game. Pop Douglas, the most productive Patriot. Bijan Robinson, a lot of it was through the air. Drake May didn't have to do a ton. He had the interception in the 3rd quarter. He had the fumble before the half. Diggs was okay. They had to move to Henderson in this game, Matthew, because they didn't have Ramondre Stevenson. But this is kind of an ugly fantasy game besides the guy at the top in London.
It really was, but I think if there's a positive to take away from it, like, what a great game for Drake May. It's only his 2nd game since week 2 with fewer than 19 fantasy points. But think about this. Drake May, didn't have a great game and still finished with, 16.4 fantasy points. His QB 15 heading into Monday Night Football. Like if that's his worst game of the season, you'll take that. He didn't sink you as well. Travion Henderson played 75% of the snaps. Didn't produce much, but more often than not, again, because the Falcons have a good defense, this is kind of an ugly, low-scoring game, just kind of blah. But if you're telling me that Travion Henderson's getting 18 touches a week, I will sign up for that right here, right now.
Yeah, the issue is just Ramondre could be back. And also they play the Bucs run defense next week on the road, which is not a good matchup. This Falcons team, there's so many positives in terms of Drake London's performance and Penix being able to get him the ball. It's just not a well-run team in Atlanta. No. They lose the game because of a premature snap and then an intentional grounding from Michael Penix, where everyone's just freaking out. They just don't do smart team things, and that just manifests itself time and time again. Their season is now 3-5. They lose to the Colts, it's pretty much curtains. They've fallen 2 games behind the Panthers, let alone the Bucs, top of the division. So a bit of a mess all around, but still, it's a pretty streamlined offense where you're obviously starting Drake London and Bijan every week. If you're feeling lucky, roll the Kyle Pitts dice, but outside of that, it's not great in Atlanta.
Big game for Michael Penix with a career-high 3 touchdown passes, but just, and actually chipped in 19 rushing yards. Don't buy it at all.
There's no rhythm in this game.
No, it's weird.
like, we need a big play, Drake London.
Yeah.
Oh, we're 3 bad plays. Okay, play action down the field. Hopefully Bijan does something special in the pass game.
Yeah.
There's no flow with the offense, like you said. I think the stats in this game, unfortunately, lie. And this is a team that I really like, the trio on offense, but I just wouldn't bake this in every week.
Yeah, Drake London just absolutely ridiculous. Detective
insane.
Drake London, a friend of the podcast. The only thing I want to say for this game, 2 other things real quickly, is Pop Douglas has the big game here, but, played 33% of the routes, just 42% route precision this season. Like, he's made a couple of big plays, but he's just not somebody that earns target as a high share. Like, I don't know that you can count on it. The weird part is that other than Drake May, I really like the Patriots as a team. Like, I think they're a good team. I think they're well coached. I think it's a good offense. I don't feel like there's anyone on that team other than Drake May that you feel good about starting. Like, in any given week, Diggs could go off, Pop Douglas. We'll see if Kayshon Boutte comes back. He left this game.
He's day-to-day with the Mike Vrabel just said, day-to-day with the hamstring. Isn't going to practice early in the week. They're going to give Kyle Williams the opportunities in that role.
So
Which,
we'll see.
you're not
Hunter Henry was hot early, and it seems to have disappeared recently as well. And then you think about this running back room again, even in a game which it should have been the Travion Henderson show, he got 33% of the Patriots' red zone rush attempts. Right? Was Terrell Williams right?
Jennings, yeah.
Jennings, sorry. Jennings, you're just like, okay, wait.
Right.
It's
frustrating.
Is Travion Henderson ever going to happen? I don't think it's ever going to happen in the kind of way people expected it to in the preseason, where
Ty
he
Mason,
was just red hot.
With the question here, Matthew, is London a top 5 wide receiver, or is it a chance to sell high? Well, you're running out of time to sell high.
And you know what's weird? Can I say both?
It depends what you can get.
Sort of depends on what you can get. Do I think this is his best game of the season? I do. So, that's in theory, could you sell high off of this? Yes. But do I think he's a top 5 fantasy wide receiver? I think he's borderline. He's definitely a top 10 fantasy wide receiver. If he's 5 versus 7, does it matter? Is he a locked in every week starter where you're not worried about who the matchup is? Yes.
I think the only 3, you definitely want JSN, Puka, and Chase over Drake London. You probably want CeeDee Lamb over him as well. And then after that, I don't think there's anyone definitively. He's kind of Justin Jefferson.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, because Justin Jefferson's I think, more talented than Drake London, but ultra-talented wide receivers with shaky young quarterbacks, so you just don't know week to week.
I think I'd want Rashee Rice more than him. I think I would. I feel better about Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense than I do about Penix and the Falcons' offense.
Rashee Rice was on a milk carton in the second half. Where he went.
The Bills always play them well in the regular season, and then the playoffs is just...
Bills are saving it all up for the regular season matchup.
Drake London is right there in that Rashee Rice, Amon-Ra St. Brown, conversation.
Reliability, and target share, and all the things you love.
Yeah.
The thing you like about Drake London is that just the target share is just going to be monstrous
no matter what.
Week in, week out. Yeah.
All right, guys, our last game
so
here.
He's a top 8 fantasy wide receiver, and he could sneak into the top 5 depending on personal preference. So there you go.
The Steelers upset the Colts.
I keep waiting for him to do the bird up. He promised us on the show that he would do bird up.
All right, he's saving it for a big one.
Maybe, okay.
Yeah,
he's 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Weird game here. Great effort by the Steelers defense. They had 6 takeaways. Daniel Jones threw a couple picks, fumbled a couple times. The Colts skill players still get some fantasy production, notably in Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, but bad day for Jonathan Taylor, Jay. Bad day for Daniel Jones.
Bad day for your Colts. What happened?
It wasn't great. I didn't
the boot.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, actually.
No,
it was kind of an annoying Sunday watching the Colts. The thing is so everyone's going to be like, Daniel Jones, the Colts, they can't do it outdoors, right? Because it's basically, they played outdoors against the Titans, but the Titans are barely an NFL team at this point. And then their other 2 road games were both at SoFi, so not that imposing. I think this was less about the outdoors thing and more about the game script element, where the Colts, they were rolling early. They marched down, first drive, they get in on the Daniel Jones sneak, they're marching down the field again, and then TJ Watt strip sacks Daniel Jones, then all of a sudden, the Steelers, they just in the blink of an eye, they're up 24-7, and now Daniel Jones has to throw the ball every time, and if the Colts have to drop back and throw, and there's no threat of the pass, there's no Jonathan Taylor, there's no play action off of that, then, it's just not that imposing of an offense. They need to be able to run the ball. And just the turnovers, which, yeah, the Peyton Wilson one from Daniel Jones, that was horrible. I mean, TJ Watt's going to get a strip sack every now and then. I don't think you really change expectations for the Colts. I think they were so good over the first 8 weeks that you kind of just throw this one in the bin, strange game, pick it up next time. For the Steelers, I mean, their defense was awesome. That changes the perspective for them. The Steelers offense, I thought sneakily, Steelers offense wasn't great in this one.
No.
They were up 24-7, then did nothing. The Colts defense kept them in the game. Happy with you, Colts defense. Good job by you. It was the offense's fault. But ultimately, for such a strange result, I don't think there's really any takeaways at all out of this. I'm not changing my view on the Colts because they had one bad game.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, you're still starting them. A tough game for Tyler Warren, which is disappointing given how good a matchup it was. But he's still locked in every week starter, obviously. So is Jonathan Taylor. I still think Daniel Jones is kind of a borderline QB1. Michael Pittman, by the way, might be one of the best steals of the season. Very quietly just having a monster season. 9 for 115 in this one on 12 targets. Third straight game with 20 or more fantasy points. He's honestly only had 2 games this year with less than 15 fantasy points. Like based on ADP and the production,
Without a doubt.
One of the steals of draft day. I think the more interesting conversation is on the Steelers side of the ball here because we kept saying with Jaylen Warren, we love the talent, we love the usage, positive touchdown regression is coming, right? And so in this game, it did, right? He got 3 goal line rush attempts. He got 5 touches in the red zone, both season highs for Jaylen Warren. So those things were positive, and he converted them. He converted the 2 touchdowns. Having said that, he was 15 for 31. 16 for 31. He only caught 2 balls. He wasn't involved in the passing game here. So it was a weird game. You get, but I agree with you. The Colts defense is really strong here. I don't know that there's much of a takeaway for Warren.
DK Metcalf is the big one.
To me, right.
I don't know what to do with it because the thing is that the Steelers, they clearly want to run the ball. They want to lean on their tight ends. They want to play this heavy personnel. It's just there's so much Darnell Washington and Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth going on. And Metcalf, if he's not catching these deep balls and if he's not housing those 70-yarders like he did against the Vikings in Europe, then he is just not a stable play-to-play cog of the offense. He is more of a novelty for them, which is surprising given how good he is. But this sometimes happens in the Arthur Smith offense.
Well, but here's the thing: the whole argument, DK Metcalf throughout his career, even in Seattle, even the heydays of Seattle, DK Metcalf has never been a massive target earner. He's never been a guy that you look at Michael Pittman's line, right? 12 targets, 9 for 115. That's never been DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is usually 4 for 80 and a touchdown.
Right.
Russell Wilson would take these moonball shots to him and he would come down with it. On the season, DK Metcalf's average depth of target is 1.8. It's all these bubble screens. It's all this short stuff.
This is the Rodgers effect, though. He sunk Garrett Wilson last year.
Yes.
Sunk him. And they won yesterday decisively. Rodgers averaged less than 6 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
This is the pass game with them.
Rodgers, he just wants to get the ball out quick. He wants to get the ball out quick, and there's not time for
They won the game, good for them. But
Yeah.
in fantasy, you're not going to be sitting here excited about it.
Single-digit fantasy points in 2 of the last 3. 17%, literally 17% of his targets on the season have come on deep passes. They're just keeping it way too short with DK Metcalf. That's not what you do with DK Metcalf. And so he's become, we talk about this with tight ends, he's a touchdown-dependent wide receiver at this point because he's just not getting the volume and he's not getting the deep stuff. You don't mind 3 or 4 catches a game if they're coming 15, 20, 30 yards down the field, but they're coming 5 yards down the field.
I think the 1.8 yards ADOT, that was yesterday. But on the season, it's not particularly deep either.
How about the Week 9 injuries we're tracking now going into this week of practices? Jayden Daniels, obviously, with a dislocated elbow.
Thank you.
C.J. Stroud left the game in the second quarter with a concussion. Aaron Jones with the shoulder injury. Samaje Perine with the ankle. Puka Nacua sounds like avoided the worst with the ribs injury. Brian Thomas Jr. with an ankle. Keyshawn Boutte is now day-to-day with the hamstring and is not expected to practice early this week. Matthew Golden with the shoulder. Tucker Kraft is probably officially out for the year. It sounds like a torn ACL for him. This is via the NFL account. He did suffer a torn ACL, and for that, Tucker Kraft drinks for free here today at the Fantasy Bowl Happy Hour.
Tucker Kraft.
Awful.
Much love for the Tuck Daddy, the Tuckler.
Yes.
Get well soon. We're rooting for you. Can't wait to see a tough, awful injury. We'll talk more about this injury tomorrow on waivers. I suspect Luke Musgrave will make an appearance here.
Yep.
But great season for Tucker Kraft. Hate to see an injury like that. Looked bad when it happened, and so.
Yep. He's a proud, chubby leather daddy, and
Yep.
we vow to win the championship for Tucker Kraft now. We'll do it in
Brock
his
Bowers
name.
off the bench?
Yeah, Brock Bowers. I literally have Brock Bowers off the bench coming in for
Wow.
him. So, but we'll do it for you, Tuck Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our
you
first
drink
break.
free. And obviously, we'll get into it, but I got to wear 5 to represent Jayden Daniels. That was a tough one. That was really a tough one.
Johnny Dangerly
Yeah, that's right.
noticing the all-black socks proves Matthew is mourning for his beloved Commanders.
That's right. Yeah, no ankles for you guys.
The ankles are in mourning.
Yes, of course. He can't celebrate this. He can't bring the ankles out for a day like
morning
today.
ankles.
Last night was awful.
Not a let it loose kind
Last
of day.
night was awful. Last night is, again, you take a look at me and you can probably guess how old I am. I've been a Commanders fan. I've been a Washington professional football team fan since I was 5. Since I was 5 years old, living in Charlottesville, Virginia, growing up there. And I think last night, given the stakes, given the season, given what happened with Daniels, given the national TV audience, given how dominated they were, the expectations for the season, how desperate the Commanders needed that win at 3-5 to keep their season alive, I think it's a top 5 loss in franchise history. I think last night was a top 5 loss in franchise history. When you think about everything that happened last night.
Yeah, it was awful.
Right?
The
Because
injury was
there
really
are many losses we've had over the years that have been worse, but it's just we weren't good that year.
Yeah, Seattle are not a good team for Washington because that was where RG3 did his knee, right? In the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a meme, I think NFL memes put around that put the videos together. They both RG3 and Jayden Daniels got hurt on the 5-yard line in that stadium. On the 5-yard line against the Seahawks. It's just.
Got to bench him next time they play Seattle. No Jayden
Just
Daniels.
brutal. Just an awful. Why is he in there down 31?
After you punted from half field already, you kind of signaled the game was over.
Yeah,
it was tough.
It's tough. We're playing for next year.
That's right.
Playing for next year. Anyway, get better soon. 5. Appreciate you. Much love. Much love to Jayden Daniels. Much love to Tucker Kraft. We'll be back after this.
What do you think when you see Brock making catches like he did, like one-handed in the corner of the end zone, somehow getting his back?
I typically try not to think. I just enjoy it, honestly. Just sit there and try to enjoy the show, man, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime type of player, man. I enjoy watching him being out there. I'm happy he's healthy. I'm happy he feel good to play. Appreciate him coming back. He just do all the little things right? One, he play hard, extremely hard. He run hard, catches the ball very. That's a long. I'm gonna be here all day trying to talk about Brock, but you know what I mean? He just do all the little things right, man. a really good player, really good dude. I got a son now. Hopefully, he turn out somewhat like that. You know what I mean? I'll be okay.
Weekend Warriors, that was Jacoby Myers on Brock Bowers, who was out of this world yesterday, guys, in the overtime game against Jacksonville. As you see at the top of the list here, guys, 43 fantasy points.
Sitting on Jay's bench.
No, I played him.
He was in the flex?
I played him. Yeah, I played him. He was in my flex, yeah. He's
not going anywhere from the wall, by the way, Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
No, there you are, Brock Bowers. You're right there. And Breece Hall is hanging tough. Travis Hunter, there we go. We get Josh Allen there in the Jayden Daniels spot. A.J. Brown up there in the corner.
Barry 29 might have saved himself with 2 wins the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Climbing out of last place. That's, I'm no longer in last. That's my first goal was make sure I've literally never finished last in a league in my entire life. And so my goal number 1 was to make sure I don't finish last. And now
I don't think you will in this one.
No,
Adam doesn't have enough players.
No, I know. So can I just, and then now the goal is just to try to make it respectable, Yeah, and so we'll see. So Brock Bowers, most fantasy points by tight end since 2020. Last guy to do it, Darren Waller, when he was a Raider, scored 45 fantasy points in Week 10 of 2020. By the way, it's the highest scoring fantasy game by any player this season, beating the only other 40-point player, Trey Tucker, also with the Raiders. It's so weird, but
it's just nothing like him. It's like watching Jonathan Taylor in tight end form.
The running
puts on the gas.
Catches.
It's insane.
Yeah, out of this world.
Yeah. Dave Canales finally figuring out what we've all known for a while. Like, we love the Chubbler, but Uncle Rico is the man. Give him the ball here. Panthers had 32 team running back touches. Rico Dowdle got 27 of them. 74% of the snaps. That's his highest since Chuba Hubbard returned. In 3 games with 20 or more touches this year, he's averaging 31 fantasy points per game. You see it there on your screen, 28.1 this week. Just ahead of Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, this was just not even a wacky week because Rico's been really good this year, Jay. It's just good to see the Panthers actually leaning on him. And I kind of wonder what happens at the deadline here with Chuba. Maybe they just hold on. I don't know.
They're a contending team.
They're a contending team.
They got because of Rico Dowdle.
Because 1,000%.
They got the same record as the Chiefs.
Right. They just They just beat Green Bay on the road.
Right.
I mean, that was a hell of a victory for them.
It wasn't even like a fraudulent win or anything. It wasn't like fluky turnovers or anything. They just outplayed the Packers. Doesn't bode well for Green Bay.
I get that it's been up and down. Bryce Young has now won 4 straight games as a starter.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think he's had a lot to do with that. but the run game is really good. The run game is really good.
That's why QB wins is just a ridiculous stat. But but anyway, either way, for those of you that grabbed Rico Dowdle, continue to enjoy. The timeshare stuff is out the window. Speaking of effective runners, how about Justin Herbert? Right? I mean, Herbert now is averaging 34 rushing yards per game. He's got 3 different games with 50 or more rushing yards. He's 3rd in passing yards per game this year. 3rd straight game with 25 or more fantasy points. Goes into Monday Night Football as the 4th best quarterback in fantasy for your Chargers, Jay Croucher.
Yes, great performance from Justin Herbert. That game wasn't as close as the final score indicated. The Chargers were always in control. The only issue, Connor, is Joe Alt goes down again.
Yeah, and this one might require surgery. And we've seen what this offense sinks to without both Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. So long-term concern going forward for Herbert.
But they've been able to, again.
Yeah, he's good enough to overcome it.
He's good enough, and the mobility, I think, will continue because he's going to be running for his life a little bit as well.
Speaking of that.
Speaking of running, right?
Jaxson Dart.
Dude.
That's not changing anytime soon. Running for his life.
Yeah.
But like you said, Matthew, a QB1 the rest of the way of the season because of that.
Absolutely. Last 3 games, this is the most important thing. He's gotten 80% over the last 3 games. He's gotten 80% of the Giants' goal-to-go rushes, 70% of the red zone rushes, especially with Cam Scatterbo out for the year. It just feels like when they get in close, they prefer Jaxson Dart to Tyrone Tracy or Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
He's going to be their goal line back for the majority of the touches there. And so, I just don't think Dart's I don't think this is fluky. The rushing nor the rushing touchdowns. He's had a rushing touchdown in 5 of the 6 games. Sam
Darnold, also a top 10 quarterback going into Monday Night Football. He finishes 21 of 24 for 330 and 4 touchdowns, but at the half, he was 16 of 16. Yeah,
it's the best game he's ever played in his life. He was just unconscious. To be fair, he's been unconscious the entire season. He is playing at a much higher level this year than he was last year when he went 14 and 3. And it's the fact that he's not just a JSN merchant. He's spreading the ball around. Torrey Horton's getting involved. AJ Barr. This is just a very high-functioning passing game at the moment.
Again, the Commanders' defense was so brutal. It's sort of like like you have to throw it out a little bit because similar to the Bengals, like just so beat up. But like, yeah. By the way, my most of my bets last night cashed except for the one I had a JSN anytime touchdown. You're telling me the Seahawks score 5 touchdowns and JSN isn't going to be one of them?
It was wide open for one of them too.
I know. Oh my God, it drove me crazy here. But Sam Darnold, QB6 and fantastic. We already talked about Stafford quite a bit. 25 fantasy points in 4 of the past 5 games. Since week 4, he's the second best quarterback in fantasy football. No quarterback has more touchdown passes than Stafford. I think this continues. They're just playing at an incredibly high level.
I think he should be the MVP frontrunner right now. He's not. He's 4th. He's plus 550.
Yeah. Also, no more rushing plays for Puka Nacua.
No,
too fragile.
Stop
no more. No more.
What are we doing? But
Sunday Scaries.
Yeah, no Love at Lambeau. That's exactly right. Jordan Love. Tucker Kraft goes down, but it's his first game with single-digit fantasy points since week 18 of last season. He's been under 16 fantasy points in 5 to 8-game season. Jay, I know you love Jordan Love, and I think he's a good real-life quarterback, but fantasy-wise, he's just too inconsistent.
He is. They want to run the ball. They seem to run the ball when they get in close as well. So tough for Jordan Love without Tucker Kraft going forward. Alvin Kamara, just a brutal day.
I'm closing it out on
you can't
for the
start
season
him anymore.
Yeah.
6 carries for 14 yards. Just absolutely nothing.
Third straight gun under 7 fantasy points, even with Kendra Miller out. Like, they just can't run the ball.
And they don't check it down to him.
No.
What's the point?
They don't. I'm still holding out hope for Kimani Vidal. Just a bad game here. Just in terms, the game script got weird. It doesn't seem like Omarion Hampton's coming back anytime soon.
No.
He's eligible to come back this week, but seems like it's going to be
week
past
13 to 14 is what I would call it. Right now.
Again, this was a tough game for whatever reason. It was weird, but it only got 20% of the. I'm throwing this one out on Kimani Vidal. I want to, he'd been so good for the last 3 here. Same with Keenan Allen here. But back-to-back games with a below 55% route participation, it just feels like the emergence of Rondé Gadsden. We saw QJ get back in this game, so it's just the Chargers pass catchers are going to be tough on a week. Other than McConkey, feels like of the other 3 guys, one guy's always going to be left out. This week it was Keenan Allen with 6.1 fantasy points. Previously it's been QJ. Maybe next week it'll be Gadsden.
Right.
Just tough.
Well, Tyrone Tracy as well does nothing. Jaxson Dart's the running back in New York. He's also the quarterback. Maybe you can play wide receiver and tight end too.
Yeah, played 6 fewer snaps than Devin Singletary. Like, we thought this was going to be Tyrone Tracy's backfield. It's a split one, and I'm with you. The runner you want on the Giants is named Jaxson Dart.
We're taking our last break. When we're back, our Monday Night Football preview, our best bets for last call right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is
yours.
It could be yours on Monday Night Football with the most bet player props as we see Dak Prescott alternate passing touchdowns at the top there. 2+
minus 770.
That's the most bet prop. Nothing like sweating out my minus 820 odds for Dak to get to 200+ passing yards. Even their injury risk alone seems wild. What do you like?
I like
Those
Bam
are
Knight.
bets we would take.
Yeah, Bam Knight over 51.5 rushing
go.
yards. Just a quick rule of thumb I have is that if you're a starting running back of a competent team and you face the Dallas Cowboys run defense, you need to be set higher than 51.5 rushing yards. Cowboys 31st in the NFL for rush defense success rate. They are very poor against the run. Bam Knight got 14 carries last game against the Packers.
What about you, Matthew?
There's a player special on DraftKings that I like. Jacoby Brissett to get 100 passing yards in each half. It's minus 105. He's done this in both of his starts. Cowboys are also 30th against the pass, and so we like the Cowboys' offensive score. I think Jacoby Brissett is going to have to throw in this one. So Jacoby Brissett to get 100 passing yards in each half at minus 105 under the player specials tab on DraftKings.
Looks like we're in this one together, Matthew. I'm taking Jacoby Brissett over 22.5 completions. He's done this in both of his starts. He's been significantly over this. Yeah. I'm with you. I just think he'll have to throw. And Jacoby Brissett, you don't worry about him completing passes. You just wonder if he'll throw the ball down the field a lot. But I think he gets over this number because Dallas will score enough that he needs to throw.
I just like the fact that, in a game with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, we're going Bam Knight and Jacoby Brissett.
That's the market.
2 euros.
Here are some of the starters tonight. A lot of these guys you're obviously starting. You're starting Dak and Javonte. We think Brissett is a top 10 play. We've talked about Bam Knight. He was in my 10 facts this week. Look, he's gotten like 29 touches over the last 2 games for the Cardinals. My guy Yates, you're starting, and George Pickens. Hopefully Marvin Harrison has a big game here, and the tight end should feast. Should be a fun one on Monday Night Football tonight.
Lots of offense, I hope.
Total 54.5. It's pretty high.
Yeah, that's very high.
Yeah.
Would you take the over on that?
No, I'd take the under.
I would too.
The Cardinals, they just play. They like to run the ball. They like to play ugly games. Not a huge amount of chunk play.
Dallas might not let you, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Dallas might
They might not let you. Dallas just going to chuck it around.
Yeah, sure.
All right, that music means it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Good luck with your Monday Night Miracles tonight. Hope they come through. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.